Freedom is the right of all sentient beings.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Do you ever have one of those moments where you think, how the hell did I get here? Jeez, what happened to me? I was ruling the galaxy, had a cherry new battle station. I mean, this place had an omelet bar, a straight-up omelet bar. And now look, my former interns tossing me down a bottomless freaking pit. You know, come to think of it, my whole life has been a series of what the moments. That was my out.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I looked my woman in the eye sockets. I told her straight out. I just said it, man. I said it. I said, bitch, I'm the man of the house.
Yeah, you said bitch, though. You called your wife a bitch.
Yeah.
This is a public service announcement from C.T. Fletcher. I will not contribute to the pussification of a nation. Get your punk ass out there and work for it, motherfucker.
Let's roll.
Broadcasting live from the Functional Veteran Center of Excellence on this 15 March 2021 WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WTF Moments. Man, one UIC away from being an official organization, but we won't claim that. I'm your host, Ice, with my other host, Flyish. What's going on? Oh man, hey, what? I'm seeing a lot of new faces in here. This is awesome. I was like, what is this? What is this? Oh, what's this? What's this? Oh, well, let me tell you what this is. You guys, you new listeners here, you're listening to WTF Nation Radio. This is the voice of U.S. Army WTF Moments. So if you follow U.S. Army WTF Moments, and all of a sudden you see a ping, you'll see us doing a live broadcast right now from one of our many nodes at the Pentagon, the Alamo, or Area 51, giving you all the news, commentary, and discussion within the veteran military community.
The fuck is this? This is the best shit ever.
Yeah, what do we need? This is live. This is no bullshit around. I am seeing your comments right now, and I react to them. And there you go. That's pretty fucking easy. Other than that, God, dude. Okay, I don't want to say anything that's good or bad or anything about daylight saving time, but dude,
it sucks.
I'm about to say, did you almost like miss? We almost missed SP today because of it. I mean, it was kind of
luckily
like,
for me, like everything's like everything in our life right now is so connected that I didn't really notice. Like it just all my watches switch over. The only thing I hasn't switched over is my oven. Like cell phone, car, like everything just went bloop. It's now this time.
Did you?
And I'm like, all right, cool.
Did you notice though? Just did it seem like throughout the day? I mean, because you and I were been chatting throughout the day, but did you kind of notice like as you were just going through your day, you didn't realize it was so like?
I didn't realize like I was getting ready for some stuff this afternoon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my god, it's already 4. Like,
yeah,
where did the day go? Like,
yeah,
I felt
exactly.
Like I got nothing done.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The same thing. I was just like, God, dude, it was going through some stuff, and I'm like, the kid goes, time to eat. We're gonna get something to eat. I'm like, what are you talking about? It's only, holy crap! It is time to eat. Little guy was, was asking, what was going on. And so I'm like, yeah, I gotta feed the kid. Then I'm like, holy crap! Is it this close to showtime? And that's when I was like, hey man, you sent me that message. It's like, dude, I was kind of thinking, damn, it's this kind of I don't know, this daylight saving time's a crock, dude. I think there's only a couple states that don't do it.
I know, like Hawaii doesn't do it. I believe Alaska doesn't do it. I
know Arizona doesn't do it either. So
you know what? I want to get on their timeline. I'm just saying.
Right, dude. I'm just kind of thinking.
You know what? I get it when the primary economy of the U.S. was like a lot of agriculture and farming and stuff. I don't understand why we still do it. There's gonna be days, in the wintertime where it's dark as shit, Like Alaska, they half their year is fucking dark.
I'm about to say they're in the dark like most of the time.
And they do just fine. And, I think we just need to kind of go, okay, it's dark. It's December. That's what's going to happen. Oh, it's January. That's going to happen. Oh, it's starting to get light again. And just stay. This whole changing thing, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Well, that's
I don't
just
like
me.
it.
What do I know? I'm just Flash.
I don't like it at all. I don't. I mean, just leave the time alone. What are we saving? What's the day? Everything was just fine when we were doing okay. There was no reason to. It just doesn't seem like it's a necessity anymore. Back in the day, you're kind of like thinking you were younger. You're like, oh, okay, whatever. And as you get older, you just start thinking, like you just said, just like, why do we have this shit? Why is it happening? What's the big deal? But anyways, so so apologies for we're kind of like off a little bit because we're
a little off. Things are a little off, but things are a little off like all around the world right now. Like news organizations are losing their minds because they realize that words have consequences. And,
here we go. Is this a Sarge time subject or is this because there's a lot of people talking about
this is a news subject.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not even gonna let you guys have it. This is a news subject.
Right. Well, did you hear? I guess even Bill Maher was talking about now that the reaction to it, that everyone's saying it's like a woke thing. I want to know who's in charge of the woke, like the woke. Who's the woke?
So for those not tracking what's going on, last week I believe it was Wednesday night. Tucker Carlson, a talking head for Fox News, a commentary type person, went on about did a bit about, I say a bit because it doesn't feel like it's news, so it's all like drama to me. Went on a bit about the Air Force had finally finished creating flight suits that will accommodate pregnant women. As you know, in the military across the board, branches and the DoD at large have done things to make it a little easier to be a woman in the military. Nothing that's like, hey, we're lowering the standards. It's stuff like, hey, this will help you. We're going to loosen up these hair things while you still keep your in good orderly conduct and it still looks professional. It won't make you go bald because you're having to freaking tie your hair back and cause baldness and shit, or have to put like 1,000 pounds of product just to keep all your hair down. Like some of these women keep their hair down is beyond me, and bless your hearts. So the military has gone through and has been making changes. Recently, the AR 670-1 changed for the U.S. military.
All right, real quick. Hey, what was the last time? Hang on. What was the last time we did a Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself? Well, we haven't done it in a long time. Thanks, Lowen.
Hey, don't let him fool you. Epstein didn't kill himself, and Giselle we're still waiting to see what Giselle has because they're talking to her brother or whatnot.
Right.
Let that shit go. We don't trust him.
Yeah, we haven't done a Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself breakout in a while. So I'm sorry. Continue. Go ahead. My bad.
So because of all that, Tucker Carlson came out and decided this was a good time to, he's talking about how, Biden is feminizing the military while the U.S. military, while China, and they keep bringing up China like they're big China fanboys apparently. Like China is making their army more, while China is making their army more masculine. The Biden is making our military more feminine, whatever that is, because we what is man and woman, like going back to the trope of genderless and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
And pretty much was equating the fact that we're making these changes to we're not combat effective and we would get our asses smoked if the Chinese decide they want to throw hands.
Right.
Well, that didn't sit well with a lot of people, and it's been a while since because there's some delineation between what's going on and what's being twisted. So let's start from the beginning. So the first thing that happened, the Sergeant Major of the Army was one of the first people, including General Funk from TRADOC, were some of the first people to make mention to that on tweets. That this does not represent the U.S. military, that these women are value added, they're combat effective, we could kill, we'll whoop the shit out of everybody.
Right.
So a lot of them started coming out and making these messages, great messages. I personally love these messages. And then a couple of people, a couple of leaders did tag Tucker Carlson and was like that, you're wrong. That's not what's happening right now. and it kept going. The U.S. Army did what's known as subtweeting. It's kind of like when you're talking about somebody without actually mentioning their name. So theirs was pretty, theirs was pretty sneaky. They were just doing
passive aggressive little jabs is what it is, man.
Passive aggressive, and they were doing this whole soldier's creed with these badass women in these photos. One of the best one was this honor guard photo of this woman who's just like complete badass, and that one blew up and went really popular. And people could read between the lines that the U.S. Army was taking shots, or at least staying on message, without actually taking shots at Tucker Carlson. And there was a DOD story that was kind of confusing because the DOD story said Pentagon smites Fox News anchor or something like that. They used the word smite, and that was kind of weird. Yeah. So there was some stuff that was on message, and there was some stuff that was like, I wouldn't have done that in my professional opinion, but hey, whatever. The Marines also had a couple of people. The Air Force, weirdly enough, even though part of this was about the Air Force was very silent, and so was the Navy. But the Army and then some of the Marines, mostly Marine leaders, were actually out there on their social media saying that his Tucker Carlson's interpretation of these changes and what it means to the military is dead wrong, and pretty much he's stupid. So then the next day, Tucker Carlson went on. So this would be Thursday night. Tucker Carlson went on to his, did his show, and he made mention about how he's being,
attacked.
That woke military leaders are attacking him. The SMA even went on CNN on Thursday afternoon and talked to them about how he's served with 4,000. In a deployed environment, and they're like some of the most badass professional people he's ever worked with. Many people, lots of Mill Twitter folks coming out and saying that.
Even yours truly got attacked.
I saw your tweet that I will say some military leaders retweeted you saying you were on message.
I got attacked. I got attacked by individuals with million followers and shit on Twitter. I was attacked. All I did was I did the same thing they were fucking doing. Since they like to fucking subtweet, I did the same thing. I fucking subtweeted them back. And when I subtweeted them back, I made a little video. There's a video presentation. And I didn't freaking, I didn't do it. I just said, hey, just pretty much say, hey, Fox News, tell Tucker Carlson, my sisters from the U.S. Navy, U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Army, blah, 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 sends their regards. Yours truly, the WTF Nation. And people got pissed.
People got really pissed. So
they got pissed.
So let's talk about a couple of things that because I want to set the right stage for this. So let's talk about what Tucker Carlson said. Now, each of these measures, especially like the flight suit, that was a Trump administration sign off. That wasn't, Tucker Carlson, when he was talking, Tucker was talking, the big doughboy. When he was talking, he was equating everything to this is Biden's changes.
Right.
And while, and while it is happening under his administration, it is wrong. It is false. It is misinformation. It's fake news to attribute this change to Biden. It happened under him, but this was a Donald Trump National Defense Authorization Act.
Correct.
The last one signed by Donald Trump. So it was a Trump administration sign off. So Tucker Carlson did push. Me and my dad had a conversation because he's a little bit more right than me, and so we had a good discussion. And I did bring up the fact that this Tucker is. I said I got it. If Biden's making all these changes, I said all these changes started under Trump.
Right.
They just are finishing over here.
Right.
I said so you're getting mad at the wrong person, but I get it. They did the same thing to Donald Trump. When Obama, like the kids in cages,
right?
That was a Obama administration thing. They kept going for how many years that it started to hit to the end of his presidency,
right.
and then Donald Trump took over, and then it became a Donald Trump thing. So I get why Tucker did it. I get why he made it, because
it's a play on politics
CNN and
anyways.
MSNBC did the same thing.
Yeah, they were playing on politics is what it was. I mean, both pundits and individuals that like to grab the clicks and ratings will say that, not realizing that, of course, they didn't want to give credit to. It's almost like how the left-wing media doesn't give credit for what D. Treasy did during the freaking epidemic when it comes to the amount of immunizations, vaccines, and stuff like that happening, and then the right wants to use whatever's happening right now under the Biden administration for something that happened in our Trump administration. It's just a play, like you said, it's a play on politics that goes back and forth. I think it's fucking hilarious. I'll be honest with you. It almost like these idiots. That's one thing I love about the internet. It's almost like the fact that these idiots don't have any fucking memory, and we just can't go Google Operation Warp Speed. Or we can't Google the immigration stuff. Or we can't Google, a lot of stuff that happened during the National Defense Authorization Act, which allowed all this stuff. And, I'll be honest with you. The President Biden isn't really doing good when he does his fucking public speaking appearances. He'll say something
that's a whole...
Yeah, he'll ramble off. I've been kind of like on the... Because the last time... Remember we said we were going to give, like we said last year, or the last election when D. Treasy was finally elected, we said we'd give him a few amount of time before we start, making fun of him and making memes and shit like that. We kind of was chilling. It's the same thing with this administration. Right now, they're not looking good. They're not looking good at all as far as, he making a statement. And that's what Tucker Carlson grabbed. He grabbed onto, like he's muttering, blah, blah, blah. And he did it while two generals were getting promoted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that kind of like, it's almost like...
Congratulations to General Richardson.
Yeah, correct. And I just like I knew as soon as he was, he's news media meme fodder. You know what I mean? They're just enough to give them that amount of injury, and he ran with it. Then that's when he went on the freaking maternity uniforms and blah 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 blah, and started throwing the pictures up and all that. And you're thinking, oh my god, dude.
So the problem was Tucker, Tucker pretty much called basic uniform and hairstyle changes that allow women to do their job safely and comfortably, which, hey, I get it. Guys are like, we want our beards. Okay, fuck off. I got it. But, like, there's a difference between, this is doing, there's a reason why we have shaving profiles for folks that get razor bumps, razor burns and all that shit for, when they're, so they can't shave. We make allocations and changes to help for the safety and well-being of the soldier, regardless of gender. But specifically, this one helps out this gender because they usually have longer hair and shit. And it also authorized women to have no minimum length, so they can shave their heads if they want.
Right.
But Tucker called it a mockery of the U.S. military. And that's kind of bullshit. So then senior leaders of the U.S. military said that his remarks about female service members were inappropriate and did not uphold military values. And they said that the values, contributed, those values are attacking, the women who have contributed throughout the U.S. military, and especially now when they're a bigger presence in the military. So, Mr. Tucker on the 11th. He said, this afternoon, the Department of Defense issued a press release attacking this show. Press Secretary smites Fox host. Like we're a hostile foreign power, remarkable, will respond at 8 p.m. And I listened to it. It was a pussy-ass BS response. It was weak. It was weaker than his chin. I laughed because, he had nothing to go with. But that's step one. So that's step one. So, and then you brought up something. You started, if you noticed, after the second Tucker Carlson coming out and then getting just like dog walked by everybody, including leaders who doubled down. Some who did the right thing and just stayed on message about what's going on. The Army, went on they just started sharing everything about, they had tons of people who were sharing, tons of women who were there sharing their like empowerment, like rock on. Like there was a group of women in front of a howitzer named Barbie, which I thought was like awesome as shit.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty cool.
And they went in a different direction. And then there's some that didn't. And we'll talk about the ones who didn't do it right in a second. But after this, we noticed that people were starting to be attacked, including Mike Levine, Sergeant Major Levine.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, he got attacked too.
If you remember I think it was back in September, he had made a comment about Breitbart News, who I loathe, and I don't care who knows it. I loathe them. I loathe them as much as MSNBC. I think they're a shit outlet. But Breitbart just is a whole other thing. I think it was Christina Wong was the author, and apparently the story was about 800 families signed a petition about the president, and somebody quote tweeted it and was like, there's like 1.4 million service members. So if you think about it, there's like 1.4 million families type thing. You cut it down, you're looking at like 800 million families, or something like that. Like, I'm sure there's a better ballpark, but I'm just going to make a like educated guess. Let's even be more conservative. 500 million. So 800 families signed a petition about Donald Trump out of 500 million. It's kind of small potatoes, right? And but the article made it sound like it was such a big deal. So then Mike Levine replied to that saying math is hard.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I remember that now.
Breitbart threw a whole fit, include Christina Wong, saying that he made a racist comment about an Asian author and in math, which that wasn't the case at all.
In your PAO realm, in your PAO world, is it like what's the sentiment in that? What are they saying about it? What's their feeling about it? And what are they?
I mean, it was a hit job.
Yeah. Okay.
Because they literally went after they deep dived into Mike. Make sure you check your privacy settings. They deep dived into Mike Levine's like Twitter history, and yes, he had made comments that he was not a Donald Trump fan, but his account was a personal account. So they did a whole article about how it's a hatch act. It's disgraceful. How can somebody who's supposed to be leading soldiers, who has such distaste for the president, agree or disagree? It was a hit job, and it was kind of lame as shit. So that happened. I know there's stuff that happened with Mike Levine. He went on a little hiatus, and he's been back for a bit, and there's been nothing but it again.
Right.
But the alt-right talking heads who, one of their favorite things to do is to shout people down. Granted, the left knows how to do it as well, so I'm not saying one side doesn't do it because I'm talking about one side. I'm just talking about the one side currently right now. Still, get ahead of me, folks. Bring in Jack Posobiec.
I don't even know who he is. Yeah. I literally don't know who he is.
So apparently this guy is a former Navy Reserve intel person who got his, I guess something happened. He got a security clearance, swiped. Apparently there's a story about like he got put on a ship and like his only job was to watch people pee. Like he was the analysis guy. Like
right.
He doesn't, he does. Luckily for him, he doesn't have a good. He doesn't say I'm in military because.
But he was in the military at one time. Is that what you're saying?
He was in the system apparently for the Navy at one point.
Right.
He's got 1.2 million followers, and then decided to go hard in the paint on Mike Levine.
I know, dude. He's like, I'm watching that shit. I'm like, holy crap.
Mike might have brought it onto himself. Jack to jump up and was quote tweeted Tucker and was defending him, and then Mike quote tweeted him and said, imagine being a complete hack in a movement that's dying. Oh wait, that's right, you don't have to imagine, you're living it. And I'm pretty sure that's what set him off. And then Jack decided not only to rehash the story, but rehash that he's a racist. And then I know Mike's being attacked. I know the SMA's PAO who's on Twitter, I won't name names just to be for him, but I know he started getting attacked. And his stuff wasn't even like – his stuff was agreeing with all the ASLs and saying, hey, Tucker Carlson's way off base and stuff. So they started attacking him as well. So you're seeing a lot of these alt-right, super conservative, right-wing talking heads, who are going after these Twitter people who they know have attached to the military and trying to make waves happen. And then I know you got caught up in that crossfire as well.
I didn't get caught up in the crossfire. I got told I was misinformed, and they went after me because all I did was do all I did was, as a matter of fact, here, hang on, fuck this. I'm gonna show it. And if we get zucked, I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna show what we post, what I did. And again, like I said, Fox News let Tucker Carlson know. My sisters from the U.S. Army, Air Force, Marines, blah blah blah, and Space Force and U.S. Coast Guard send their guards. It was nothing. It didn't say you're a shitbag, and say anything else. All I did was show them this video, and I'm gonna play it with some sound here. Let me get some sound up on this thing right here, so that way. But if we get zucked, oh well. But this is it was literally, these are all women performing roles that everyone is basically shit talking on the web for, and ironically, we're being streamed on the same platform. So we also there you go. That's what it was. That's the video that got everybody fucking pissed off at me for doing. Each one of those, everything from that fighter in the beginning that was flown by a woman, the woman on patrol in Afghanistan, supporting operations, and then women submarine drivers, Coast Guard, rescue swimmers. And of course, General Richardson, those women that you saw haloing out of an airplane were part of a special operations team. And then the woman that you saw at the end of the video was a team leader, briefing her soldiers and shit in fucking JRTC. That is what got people pissed off at me, was when I did that little vid.
So mad.
Angry mad, angry salt bitch mad shit. And I'm thinking, I just said, hey, let Tucker Carlson know that, the ladies of all the services said hi, send their regards. And immediately, because the onslaught that's been happening now, every single member of the military that speaks up about this shit is now getting attacked by the same fucking media that just a few years ago were just waving their flag saying support the fucking troops.
Mm-hmm. So much so that it's not just Jack. It's a couple other people who have been using their alt-right, follower rights and everything, and they've been swarming everybody, including ASLs, the Army Twitter, Army Facebook, General Funk, all kinds of people. So then there are, and I did mention that. Okay, so we've talked about what happened. We talked about how this has been going. And we talked about some of the people who've done things right. Now, there was one, I think it was a Marine Command Sergeant Major, if I'm right.
Yes, Master Gunnery Sergeant or something. He's the space. Yeah. He's the Space Comm Sergeant Major or something like that.
There we go. He kind of came out on a video and was way more direct and way more. Probably not on definitely not what I would advise as a PAO, but was way more like, nah, bro, this ain't gonna, this isn't gonna fly. You have no idea. You don't have any idea what happens here. You should keep your mouth shut. And there's a problem with that statement. We work for the United States people. We can't get away from that. Granted, a citizen, not a political figure, because he has not run for fucking office. So, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But a citizen made a comment on a big platform, and the U.S. military, for the most part, disagreed with everything he said. So maybe but we still work for them, so they can have an opinion about how they're paying for is run. We don't have to really listen to them, but they can have that opinion, and saying they can't. That's not right. And, that's where you kind of go, that might be a First Amendment issue, because now you're telling, a government entity is telling citizens you can't talk about us because you're not part of us. There's some problems there. But
do you think now this whole engagement with what Tucker Carlson did, just the whole, actually, and all the attacks that members of the military are getting now from the media, hey, I hope you guys don't get pissed off at your soldiers when they send something to the WTF Nation. You know what I mean? So does this mean that no one's, it's like, have we found, I mean, this is like the one time that I've seen the military veteran community unite either one way or the other. And, there's some individuals on some side that are supporting it. Some, obviously, there are those that are not supporting it. But you think now chains of command, seeing how social media is working, and how it's affecting, because they are the individuals on social media that are public figures are going after individual soldiers, individual service members, individual leaders on each one, and these are like big influencers. Like these are reporters that were that were like big, that have big followings on Twitter, that have big followings on social media. So do you think now this has kind of changed the dynamic? Do you think we've moved into another level of engagement when it comes with the media now, and how we look things on social media that a soldier posts, like when you post something, like say you like, or
it changes. I definitely think this changes the dynamic from the top down. I remember when I was an active PAO, we were always trying to get senior leaders to if they're going to have a Facebook page, if they're going to have a Twitter handle, to be on there and be authentic, be like them, like they would normally. And they were. They heard something they disagreed with. General Funk is really good with his social media, and he went in the SMA. I would say is a lot better with social media than Sergeant Major Daly was. Even though I did love Daly, he gave us our tattoos back. Thank you. But Sergeant Major, Sergeant Major of the Army Grinston is a lot better with social media, and they use the platforms to get a message out to the American people that we do not agree with Tucker Carlson and what he has said. Now, it does bring to light that, hey, it's social media and everyone's on the chopping block. Like, your words don't disappear if you delete them. There's always screenshots. Even some insignificant thing will somehow get screenshotted and it will live forever.
Right.
I do think that it does. I do think military members do, and PAO shops, hint, hint, stomp, stomp, pay attention, should definitely be, briefing their commands and briefing their formations of, hey, have a social media, be on there. It's a great way to connect, but understand your shit can get used against you, and be prepared. That's why you have a PAO to overhead to help out and stuff. I mean, granted, if you're not in the wrong and somebody's coming after you, that's why you have the might of the U.S. military and stuff like that to help with that. Thank you, Josiah. He may have retired, but he's still the SMA in our hearts, 100%. Definitely not Chandler, but definitely Sergeant Major Arm Daly. He was awesome. And I really do like Grinston. I'm not saying taking anything away from him. I think he's had to deal with a tough time right now, and with going back even when he started, and I think he's doing a bang-up job. But I do think that PAOs and commands need to get out there and be like, hey, look, be prepared, because if you're noticing, you can have an opinion, but somebody might come after you because of it, and they might try to shout you down or make trouble your way. And what you're seeing is people trying to get shouted down by alt-right figures, and I think that's bullshit. And they're a bunch of pussies, and if they really want to catch hands, they come on down and catch hands.
Well,
I'd rather stick behind their computers and say snarky things and just be who they are.
I will. And we got a comment from in Periscope right now saying that the people will mob you to death, and then all the way to shut you up. I mean, you can't imagine what this is like to somebody who's in social media or does social media and is breaking out and just makes one comment on Twitter and has a little bit, a little bit more focused in the, how do I say this, in the way they tweet something, in the way, because I had to reach out to a couple people. There's several. I mean, being that obviously I'm part of the WTF Nation and WTF Nation Radio, I follow a lot of PAOs and a lot of PAOs follow me. And I saw some tweets that I'm like, ooh, ouch, man, that's a good burn, but you know what, man, you better delete that shit. Why? Because, dude, man, it's not even fucking worth it, man. It's not even worth it. I just think that the fact that you got to kind of be careful as on the spice, because you're a representative of the organization. An individual person, yeah, you can go ahead and fucking
I do think people maybe got, some people after the initial wave of U.S., bucking back at those comments, maybe got a little caught up in it.
Yeah, I think so too.
And there was pushback again. Now, I will say, Alan Tucker, maybe, just maybe, these military generals are allowed to focus on more things. Are they allowed to eat and shit at the same time? Like, are they allowed to do that as well as
I was gonna get
security?
You got that comment. Okay, I was gonna get on to
look, if one of them wants to have sex with their wife, are they allowed to take their mind off the national security to go do that, or is it like as long as you have stars on, you're celibate, you feed through a fucking tube, and here's your colostomy.
But Alan's got a point.
Get out of here.
Alan's got a point that because the military, what they're not used to seeing is and he's got a half point right there. The reason why I say he's got a half point is that most units and most leaders have only been focusing on stuff what they've seen within their area. They're not seeing something like, hey, we're building our defenses better against China. This is what we're going to do against China. Or we're going to do this against, Iran. Or this is what we're going to do, blah, 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 blah. It's always been like the higher echelon people, and the news really have been talking about it. So do you think that might have been the perception, because this is obviously the American public is saying this. They're like, hey, look, maybe you should focus on China. Even though.
That's funny. My dad brought up something very similar, and it was one point because he was like, he's like, Biden hasn't done anything. I said, we've had all kinds of advancements that we've announced. He said, yes, the the Army has announced and the Navy's announced, but the president hasn't.
Right.
But Donald Trump would go out and go, our military's awesome. We're doing this, that, and the other.
Right.
And I will concede that point that when we're talking between that's why maybe people are seeing that, the military is just being woke. The military is definitely not a woke organization.
I still want to find out where the woke center of excellence is at, so we can have a meeting.
The woke center of excellence. I want to figure out where that is. The military's never been woke and never will be considered woke.
Yeah,
I think it's just like, they're being woke. It's cancel culture now. But I will say that when it comes to if military, we haven't had top cover. Biden hasn't come out and had said anything cool about our military besides the fact that the two new promoted generals are females, which is rock on. But that's been about it. Nothing's like, hey, we're building this many more aircraft carriers so we can jack the shit out of people. We're doing this. So, but Donald Trump did that all the time. Granted, he also was going after his base, which was support the troops up until they don't support the troops, but support the troops. So I can understand why.
That's another ball of wax. That's another ball of wax.
It's the same with the people. Back the blue up until they didn't back the blue, and they fucking had got an officer killed in those fucking riots.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I'm saying. The David Cunningham says, if you mess with our troops, no matter what service, stand by. Exactly. That was my whole thing is that we always in the veteran military community, we always. I mean, look at it. I guarantee it. I'm going to go through some of these profiles here, and I wasn't going to be like one of the type of person that would just go ahead and drop dimes like that. But I can guarantee it. I can go on several profiles right here and broadcast to millions that there are individuals who say that if you ever need me, I got your six. You come at me. You come after my brothers or sisters. You coming after me too, and blah 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 blah. And I'm not seeing that. I'm really not seeing. I'm not seeing everyone's now within the military community is fighting with each other on how to support the military community when they were just recently saying, I got your six. They were recently just saying, you attack my fellow veteran or service member, or you attack my brother or sister, you coming after my family. You know what I mean? That's all of a sudden starting to fucking change because do you think now some of these individuals have gotten themselves too wrapped up into the, and I'm telling you, it's hard for me. It's hard for me to sit there, and I mean that's not really hard for me. It's pretty fucking easy. I'm retired, so I can just say, whatever. I can't. But if I was in, or the NCO inkling in me will say, man, some of these motherfuckers here, hang on. See, Alan says that the perception is that senior leaders should shut the fuck up about media personnel. It's unprofessional that shit happened before the election. Yes, it did happen. As a matter of fact, it did happen. It happened all the fucking way. It happened all the fucking time. As a matter of fact, we were part of that going after media person. As a matter of fact, we even used the same media personnel that were shit talking us today. We used them back in the fucking day. We got fucking receipts. That's what I was telling you about history. That's what I'm telling you about.
So my thing is leaders not allowed to have an opinion anymore either.
Right. No, it's okay.
You're not allowed to do anything but think about national security. You're not allowed to have an opinion.
Well, I mean,
now, here's the thing that people got messed up. I think when you run an organizational page, you need to speak as the organization.
Correct.
And I think some organizations, like one that I like to talk about, got too wrapped up in what the social media manager was feeling, and it became more of his opinion than of the organization.
Right.
That's why I think the Army was smart. And even though the Air Force and Navy didn't say anything, they were smart. They stayed on message. The Navy and Air Force just stayed out of it. But the Army didn't actually go after anybody as the organization. They reinforced their points about female women serving in the Army. And I can appreciate that. But then there's I think it's the 2nd Marine Expeditionary Force Information Group. They went buck fucking wild.
Do you know what the information group is? Do you know what they do?
No.
Information operations or public affairs.
Really?
That's almost like it's an information group. I mean, it's like
their PAOs decide to go buck wild.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
One comment was, "Come back when you've served
and gotten pregnant." Yeah, that was okay. That was funny. Savage, but fucking funny, but unprofessional.
Others like it, and that's where it's like that's an organizational page.
Yeah.
And now it's different if General Funk says something. That's his page.
Right.
And he's allowed to have an opinion that is not maybe in line. He's allowed to differentiate himself from maybe what the Army thinks or something like that. He might say, I support beards and I hope we have them, while the Army goes, we're not doing that.
Right.
But the Second Meth Information Group pretty much came out, and the social media manager took his or her or the group's opinions took over. And come back when you've served and been pregnant. People are allowed to have an opinion without having to be in, and we have to, as a government page, you have to understand that's okay.
And you had to let
that's on the side of,
and you had to let it fly out, right? Yeah, exactly. Well, you have to kind of you kind of have to let it happen. You have to let them say it. You have to let the trolls get you, because you're a government. You're a page representing a government entity, and so you kind of have a little bit of how do I say this? You kind of have to have your earmuffs on or mute the individuals that are trolling your page, because when you don't and you start engaging it, then everyone has the perception, just like everybody else did, just like Alan just said right there. Alan just said his perception of what leaders should shut them, even though leaders have already expressed their stuff before, and yes, members of the administration have attacked private citizens before, and members of the military and the media have attacked personal citizens before. So this is not fucking new. Everyone's making it sound like, oh, it's not new. It's only new because you're saying shit against your beloved network, or who your favorite person is. If someone, went after your favorite freaking who's your favorite newscaster? Do you have a favorite newscaster, or do you have a?
I don't know if I have a favorite newscaster anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. We have. I mean, I'm old, so I was like Walter Cronkite and shit.
I used to I think I've mentioned I really did like Dan Rather as a kid.
Yeah,
like I used to listen to watch Dan Rather when I was a kid with my grandmother, and that's my great grandmother. And that's probably why I got into doing public affairs at some point, because I like telling stories, and I would watch 60 Minutes and stuff like that. Whoever the narrator, the guy, I think he just retired too. For 60 Minutes, I really like that guy.
Yeah.
So
yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. Scott, exactly that was Scott. What Scott said. It's that he was trying to attack what he sees as work culture and not intended to insult servicewomen, even though that's how it came off. That's exactly how it fucking came off. Woke culture is what he meant, not work culture. Exactly how it came off. See, that's what I'm saying. If you're responsible for, like me and Flash for shit posters and meme lords and stuff like that. So we're just talking news, commentary, and discussions. And
welcome to the Thunderdome.
Yeah, exactly. We interact with you guys and gals and get the feedback and shoot the shit. As soon as we're done with the show tonight, I'm not going to go and start, fucking making death threats to you or go stalk your fucking house or some shit. It's for the discussion, back and forth conversations. That's what it's all about. But as far as the way he said it and the way he was mocking it, he used a piece of like I said before, the speech where Biden was, because I'm telling you what, the president cannot, right? He's not articulating shit pretty good at all. I mean, it's
and he's forgetting stuff halfway when he says it.
He's forgetting halfway. I mean,
what was I saying?
Yeah, what was I saying? Or
am I supposed to talk here?
I
did see that on Sean Hannity.
Yeah, those guys. That guy. We got that new guy. That new guy that's responsible for that. That thing over there where where these ladies work at. That's where that guy right there. He was talking about the new Secretary of Defense. And he didn't know who it was. And I was like, God, dude, come on, new spit. And that's when he said, and we're doing things about, and then he said maternity uniforms. And naturally he had, like I said, meme fodder for the media to grab onto. Because I think right now, the media doesn't want, they're kind of afraid of not saying, dude, this guy's, come on, man. Well, you got to let this guy talk.
Alan, what's horseshit is the fact that a conservative talking head said something so asinine, and who would it matter if it was? Would you have been better with it if it was a liberal talking head? The individuals can say whatever they want, including individuals in the U.S. military, right. I.e., the SMA, General Funk, the DCG. They attack some command.
I'm gonna be honest with you. As a matter of fact. Alan, congratulations! You're meeting the next group of people who've been attacked by the military. Us. U.S. Army, WTF Moments, and WTF Nation Radio. I mean, I'm pretty sure after this dies down, we're gonna post something that's gonna freak people out. We get lit by fucking leaders all the time. We'll have somebody tweet or send a message out because it gets back to us. And it'll be, this is unacceptable, inappropriate, blah, 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 blah. You guys shouldn't have posted that. And people will go in our inbox. You shouldn't have posted that. It's against good order and discipline. Yeah. It's been like that for the last fucking decade. This group we've been up.
You don't see us calling all followers, go after them because we didn't like they said something. They're allowed to have an opinion. Now, it's not like the U.S. military, the U.S. Army, or like the Navy or something came out
and said we
decided to come after us. It's individuals who are allowed to have an opinion. And then you also have this thing where people are like, oh, it's a Hatch Act issue. This is a Hatch Act issue. When did fucking Tucker Carlson ever serve in fucking office?
I was about to say, what a Hatch Act is.
Just because he's a fucking talking head who happens to be conservative, it does not mean the U.S. military is not allowed to say this fucker is stupid to his fucking face if he's so.
I thought the Hatch Act, the Hatch Act thing. We need to get some JAG people on. We need to get the judge. We need to get some JAG people. That's right.
No, I've been seeing it. I think I know the judge is on. Is taking kind of a break.
But he's on a vacation. He's on a leave of absence.
There's Legal Eagle.
That's right, Legal Eagle. Yeah, that's right. That's who it is.
Who's on Twitter? Who actually did a long thing and broke it down piece by piece. This is not a Hatch Act issue because Tucker Carlson is not a political figure. Tucker Carlson is a talking head, a bad one at that, who I guess tried to get into the CIA like 3 times and failed each time.
Really?
The man couldn't even win Dancing with the fucking Stars. He's not going.
Okay, that was fucking funny.
I don't give a shit. Tucker Carlson can say whatever the fuck he wants because he's a citizen,
right?
But he does not get First Amendment rights. Is not freedom of consequence,
right?
If you say something stupid,
he's gonna say something
just
stupid.
Like all these the people who are shouting people down.
Yeah, the woke. Okay,
just
so
because they're shouting people down doesn't mean we can say, oh, you can't do that.
Right?
They can do what they want, even if they're douchebags about it.
Ask
your local barracks lawyer. Hell yeah,
exactly.
But Tucker Carlson does not meet the Hatch Act requirements. The U.S. military, these leaders are not going after
Flash.
a political. They're not going after Duckworth. They're not going after Cruz.
I want to know.
And speaking of that son of a bitch.
No, hang on. I want to know real quick. I want to know how all of a sudden how everyone kind of like blew off the Hatch Act. I don't know, 4 months ago. And now all of a sudden it's a big deal. Now all of a sudden everyone's saying, "Oh, it's Hatch Act." So now the individuals. So when people were going after D. Treasy saying that Hatch Act, and everyone was literally saying, "No, you can't go after," and they're like, "Yeah." Again, we got receipts. There are people who have agreed that have agreed with us, or not agreed with us, but have agreed with the military or agreed with somebody when someone has said something against, or when the military says something against a talking head. Everyone immediately goes Hatch Act. Man, you know what? I didn't even know fucking what the Hatch Act was until Donald Trump got elected. When he got elected, then that's when I was like, why is everyone talking about fucking Hatch Act? I mean, what is it? I was expecting to see court martials flying fucking left and right from individuals that couldn't stand the former president. And I was like, oh shit, Hatch Act, this is some serious shit. I've not seen anybody get busted for the Hatch Act. Have you? I mean, have you remember?
I have known somebody who did get a
letter of concern or warning or something like that.
They got kind of like hey, we did kind of a thing.
Right.
We did kind of a thing. Don't do the kind of a thing.
Right.
And it was like oh shit. I have. I think it was my first government job. We were having a conversation about politics, and I got pulled in the office. They're like, hey, Flash, shouldn't do that. Just keep it out because you don't want. And I was like, okay, cool. And now it was a very no one was on one side or the other. We were it was more of a generalization conversation. But
right.
They did give us hey, I know we're all by ourselves down here at the end of the hall. Just keep yourself safe. And I was like, oh shit, this is a real thing.
Right.
And I actually did more research on it. But it's funny because these folks started trying to shout down leaders, anybody in the military who had a profile and stuff like that. But
I think it's fucking funny.
It's only so effective. And then they started going, oh, but it's political now. They're going after something political. I'm sorry. When did saying that in mockery of the U.S. military is now a political thing? Oh, wait, because Tucker Carlson. When did Tucker Carlson serve office? When does he run for office? Please tell me. Well, I'll wait. And
I want to see that.
Ted Cruz?
Yeah, Senator Ted Cruz fucking. He wanted to go down.
Senator Ted Cruz, you let me know when Tucker Carlson became a political figure.
Alan is not letting it go.
That's like saying that I'm a fucking diplomat because we talk about national security and relations with different countries and shit.
Alan the chat's not letting it go, man. He's not letting it go. He's He's like so kind of like SMA. So those individuals that made those 4 tweets.
Wait, so they're shouting it down by making a comment
they've only like total
on CNN. Hey, I don't agree.
Yeah.
This is not in keeping with the U.S. military's
standards. Yada yada. Exactly.
That's shouting down.
How about?
Or is it Jack Podbeck?
I don't even know how to pronounce his name. I don't want to mess it up.
Fucking right-wing folks taking their millions of people going. Damn right you won't let it go because you're stupid as shit.
No, stop it, fuck. He's not stupid. He just is uninformed. He's not stupid. We can't go attacking our fans.
Hey, I'm a private citizen with my own opinion. You're stupid as shit. Hey, you U.S. leaders, you can't have an opinion.
You can't have an opinion.
I like this guy, but I guarantee if they went after fucking Lou Dobbs or Rachel Maddow or Don,
oh yeah, they would be all over it. No, my biggest thing is that. No, my biggest thing is that I can't see how it's shouting down for. Let's put it this way. There's like 5 tweets. Five individuals, 5 army leaders that had tweeted some shit out. They tweeted some shit out, right? They tweeted it out, and then Sergeant Major of the Army appeared on CNN and discussed it. That's not really shouting down. What's shouting down?
So loud with your couple of tweets.
Yeah, what's shouting down, dude? What's shouting down is when you have all the followers of Tucker Carlson going after military people that either liked, retweeted, or said, hey, yeah, that's pretty fucked up. And are now, right now, no shit, individuals that are going after your brothers and sisters for saying, yeah, that was not even going into a diatribe. Just saying, oh, yeah, that was pretty fucked up, Tucker, whatever.
I've known tons of people who've had to put,
had
to
lock down had to lock their fucking accounts. Profiles and shit. So this media,
because they're being attacked.
They're being attacked. They're getting shouted down. These are the junior grade leaders that you guys are they're talking shit about. And I'll be honest, yeah, they're getting shouted out. Yeah, and of course, I was like, damn, I never expected. I mean, I expected some fucking, the senior military people. I mean, everyone kind of goes after the boss. Everybody knows that. Fuck, you got break balls on me. Shit. But the thing is that I never expected the rank and file. Because, you always hear them say that. You always hear them say, the FBI or something like that, or the military is great. It's just, we have a problem with the leadership, not the rank and file. We don't have a problem with the rank and file. Well, ladies and gentlemen, they're going after the rank and file. They're going after captains, platoon sergeants, sergeant specialists, lieutenants. They're going after them just before saying, oh, that was pretty messed up. Was that right? You gotta shut up. And then another tag, another tag, another tag, and another tag.
They should be focusing on national security.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you be focused on national security.
You can't have a life. You have to focus on national security. So then Ted Cruz came out yesterday, and it was more specifically aimed to the Marines and in that one rogue page, and wrote this letter to Secretary of Defense Austin.
Right.
Quote, the U.S. military's subordination to the civilian governance, including the American people, for whom and by whom the government is selected, is at the core of our republic and its institutions. That structure is woven into our military at every level, including the Department of Defense Directive 1344-10 or .10, which broadly forbids military service members from engaging in their official capacities in any activities that associates the DoD with any partisan political campaign or election, candidate, cause, or issue. When did saying that it's making that that changes to women or saying that's a mockery to U.S. military fall under partisan political campaign, election, candidate, cause, or issue? Are you saying that it's a conservative idea that it's being a mockery to the U.S. military?
I think
I'll wait for that answer.
I think what actually, be honest with you, Ted Cruz
is that the Republicans?
Ted Cruz had a. I think it was a fairly crafted. It was a pretty good memorandum of how, and which is right, military organizations, representing, because like we said ourselves, there are some pages that kind of went overboard and got caught up in the moment. They should rightfully they should get talked to and said, yep, you shouldn't have fucking said that. You should, the individuals and stuff like that. But when he started saying towards the end of the letter, talking about left wing stuff, what he should have said was partisan, so that way it didn't make it seem like the military wasn't taking a side. I mean, when you think about it, the military defending themselves and all that, the leaders, the army. Now, I think I noticed this too. I didn't see the army, like the army itself, like the army.
I did notice that, even though the army was like drinking their tea and saying shit about,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. But
women are fucking awesome.
Well, you really kind of make you're kind of fucking stupid to be making comments about women during Women's History Month.
I know, like this was the worst, and they did it on purpose, and and I've heard conversations with POs, and he's gaslighting this because I'm like, cool, let him, because he showed his ass. Now the letter goes on. I'm deeply troubled with the commitment that you made and the military's broader obligation to avoid political endorsements and controversy are being systematically undermined for the sake of left-wing ideology and political expediency. I'm sorry, again, excuse me? Go ahead. So you're saying the official platform of the Republican Party is that Tucker Carlson is a card-carrying member, and that your stance is that any changes that benefit soldiers, we're not saying we're giving them cheaper weapons or crappier food or less training time. We're saying that, hey, you can wear your hair a little bit more comfortable so it makes you more of a badass fighting machine. That's now a leftist idea, and that kind of pisses me off.
Well,
anyways, let me continue.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Bullshit.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
Last week...
Go ahead.
The last week has witnessed the Pentagon mobilize systematic public attacks against attacks against host Tucker Carlson, i.e. his wife, that in substance, tone, and political resonance is inexplicably inappropriate. Fuck you. The campaign was launched in response to criticism.
Come on,
by
just keep
Carlson
going, dude.
that
Stop saying
gender-based reforms.
We got to take a break. That's why. Hurry up.
Which are being justified using the language of social justice with widely recognized vulnerabilities and erosions in our military's warfighting capabilities, including especially in context of great power competition. Whatever one thinks of the merits of the argument, and I believe there is much to be said against the use of military for social experimentations, fuck off, including those, for those reasons, those are broadly held concerns that have been fodder for political controversy and debate for decades. Instead of allowing the debate to take course in the public among American citizens, oh wait, I guess we're not American citizens anymore, and their elected leaders, military officials over the last week, have repeatedly launched attacks on Carlson, including through DoD platforms and accounts, and while in uniform. The campaign has alternated between using childish and simply outrageous comments. It does go on. It's fucking 2 pages. I'm gonna skip down to the very end. I cannot, because it's more of him like jacking himself off. Like, I don't give a shit. I cannot imagine how any of the above behavior can be explained, and I am deeply concerned about the portents for the direction you and President Biden intend to move the military. I therefore request the Commandant of the Marine Corps meet with me in person to discuss these issues. I also request the official response from the department and implementation of a policy that insulates other units from being similarly mobilized against the speech of American citizens or the service of left-wing political causes. Signed, Ted fucking Cruz,
you know what, dude?
United States Senate.
You know what? He's. I mean, I'm not talking about his blue falconry of going to Cancun while there were some power issues in Texas. But I am going to say is that why does he's expecting this general? I want an explanation. I want to discuss with you. Is this like the new Karen? I want to submit a letter. I want to write a letter to the manager. I want to write a letter to the social media manager of the Marine Corps now. Did we have a?
I like to talk. Look here, Karen Cruz.
We're gonna take a break right quick, and we'll be right back. Shots. And we're gonna talk about guns.
Cruz, second round's coming up, brother.
Okay, we're talking about guns too. We'll be right back. Shots.
WTF Nation Radio. WTF Nation Radio.
Take it from me, Ice. You can't just float around space not caring about stuff forever.
The voice of U.S. Army. WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
Shit in the bag, Pogue.
Nothing feels the same. Left it all behind. another rocket attack. I've got my boots and got my ammo in my 50-pound sack. Boys headed to war in this world unknown. The only peace of mind I've got are these letters from home. Another day attack. I've tried to talk and tell you about it, but it ain't the same. All these thoughts that run through my head, well, they can't be tamed. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here in Kandahar. Another day has come and gone. Another night I'm all alone. I didn't think I'd be this far out here. We ain't far from Kandahar.
I am here determined to stop this future atrocity.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe. I suggest we use it.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shots.
And we're back. Part 2 of the Monday edition. WTF Nation Radio, U.S. Army WTF Moments. Ice and Flash, giving you all the news, commentary, and discussion drama. Oh, man, 15 March 2021. Man, what an interesting topic. We're going into another one too that people are gonna get all riled up about. Guns. Anyways, real quick, just to kind of like to finish up from what we were talking about earlier. There was a couple comments that we weren't gonna catch because obviously we're doing yes, we do know that the first off, we're breaking balls and pure fucking hyperbole just to shoot the shit. However, some of you might say hyperbole, but it's called hyperbole, which means we are joking around, which there is no reasonable expectation of you understanding. We cannot be some serious, but yes serious, and a little bit of serious. We're kind of joking around about this shit too and poking fun at it. Being a little, of course, discussing this stuff. There are so fucking discussions where everyone's talking about, oh, I'm glad, let me see, let's go out here. Retirement can't come fast enough. The discussion that the leaders felt the need to discuss maternity wear as a bullet. Okay, stop right there. None of the Army leaders that Tucker Carlson was talking about were discussing maternity wear. It was the President of the United States that said specifically maternity when he was rambling on, when he was joining on and he just blurted out maternity uniforms. That is what got it. Military leaders didn't say jack and fucking shit about maternity uniforms. I'm serious right now. That was not a whatever. That'd be like anything else about beards or something like that or whatever. It's funny that everyone was like breaking balls and wanting to know about beards, and beards. But then as soon as you heard somebody else say something, then of course you like to grab on that and move on with it. So that's what it was. It wasn't military leaders. It was the president making that speech when those two generals got promoted to 4-star. That's one thing. The next thing is that if you focus on non-existent threats within rank, racist, white supremacists, rampant shit going on. Hey, look, there is rampant shit going on. I'm kind of glad that social media, like I said before, Flash, remember when I said about the First Amendment? It's a great tool to find out who the assholes are and who the people are that are. There are some racist motherfuckers out there that, bye. Go. Bye. See you. Extremists, yeah, see you. What's wrong with that?
But the leaders didn't address anything about China.
The leaders, I'm telling you what, now all of a sudden everyone's an expert on fucking China. Everyone was talking about fucking Afghanistan and fucking and Iraq and Syria. We're going to go to Syria. Everybody has been knowing about fucking China, I don't know, since I've been in. So, hyperballs.
I like hyperballs.
Hyperballs sometimes.
But it's funny though. We can't because I do want to move on because we.
Go ahead. We're talking about guns.
I have 3 points. One to Alan's point. Leaders are allowed to talk about specific things in separate tweets without saying that they have to get everything out at one time for it to be important. I kind of think that by saying, oh, but they didn't talk about this, they didn't talk about that, it's like saying your mom didn't say good job on this, but you didn't give her a chance to say good job on anything else, so that means she didn't care. This is stupid. These leaders were protecting and addressing what was being talked about of their formations, and I would expect that from our leaders. They, national security is not something that is what they're going to. I don't remember thinking Eisenhower was broadcasting through pigeon what his fucking D-Day plan was. And I don't think I think our leaders are really think it's appropriate to come out and go, we were thinking about China. We wanted to do this, and we were thinking of moving closer to Taiwan. Why you gotta talk about
pigeons, man?
Alaska.
Why you talking about pigeons like that? Why are you insulting pigeons?
Hey, pigeons are badass, and they were, that was the real Twitter right there. That was real Twitter.
that was the original bird app.
But you can't expect them to be talking about national security stuff on social media because then people go, oh, it's SAP or it's fucking whatever acronym out and shit. So they're protecting their formations. And when you're saying, and pretty much Tucker Carlson was making comments about women in uniform that was just not appropriate at all, and he got the backlash that he was hoping for. He was hoping for some kind of thing because his ratings have been slipping, but that's just me. But I'm proud as a former active. I am proud that, in Slash's opinion, that the military, including specifically leaders, came out and defended their ranks from somebody who was saying shit about us. And somebody posted in here, it's like, oh, well, when you gang up on one branch, the rest of the branches, bounce back. And that's exactly what happened. You talked about the military making changes that benefit our soldiers, that make life easier for a section of our soldiers. And they shit talked it, and our leaders went, no, we're not doing that today. So now you guys have to just, people who don't like that, you have to understand that, fuck off. Like, we had leaders protect, which you probably wanted top cover when you were in the service. And you probably complained about at some point, man, I didn't have the first sergeant to cover my back or this. Well, guess what? This is our leaders covering our soldiers, our service members' back on a national level against a talking head. And now you're sitting on the side like, leaders shouldn't do that. Wrong. 2, Ted Cruz needs to go get bent. It's the people who are shouting this down that have no merit to shout down what's happening that are trying to turn this into a political thing. This isn't political. Don't talk shit about our service members. That's easy. If you talk shit about our service members, our leaders will come back and say that you're wrong, and these guys and gals, men and women, awesome, everyone in uniform are badass, and we will defend them. And I appreciate that, but I do not appreciate taking a situation against a political commentator that's not political enough to count for the Hatch Act. And I do not think that he has a leg to stand on, and that's why he only went after the Marine Corps that got close to being on the line. Everyone else, he had nothing to say. You know why? Because he has no case. And number 3, Dave, I do think Ted Cruz sucks. I will say, oh God, now we're pivoting to extremism.
We're talking about guns. Come on, go. We're talking about guns. Man, I want to get to the gun subject.
And 3, I'm Flash, and I'm smarter than you. We're just gonna go with Come on. No, I don't. I ended up pushing 2 and 3 into the same one. So I just 2 points. So I'm glad our leaders are protecting the soldiers on a national level and being respectful, because 99% of all the comments that came out of military or military affiliated pages or leaders was respectful, disagreeing. They're allowed to do that, respectful. And Ted Cruz can go get bent because he's just trying to protect Tucker Carlson, who was getting dog walked by, everybody, and he rightly deserved it. You can't shout down just because you're pissed that you don't like the message. The left has been doing it. The right has been doing it. Guess what? Doesn't work either way, and it's not going to work here or now. Anyways, get your guns and go find them into somewhere, safe.
I'm about to say, dude, this is more pressing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Going back and forth with individuals on the webs, fighting back and forth with keyboard warriors and shit.
Happening a couple of days ago, the House passed legislation that would expand background checks on all commercial gun sales, marking the first congressional move on significant gun control since Democrats won the White House and the majority in both the House and Senate. Now, the House passed the legislation in 2 separate votes. So the first vote is H.R. 8, the Bipartisan Background Checks Act of 2021. Passed 227 to 203. Remember, while the Democrats do hold the majority is slim in both houses. They lost a lot in the House, way more than Nancy Pelosi was expecting, and it's a virtual tie in the Senate, meaning if one Democrat disagrees and the Republicans hold the line, it's a wash. So, and the same thing with the Republicans. If the Democrats hold the line and a Republican goes over, it's a wash and it's done. If they 50-50, vice president steps in, makes a vote, and that's the tiebreaker, and there you go.
So this was how long was this legislation passed? I mean, what was underway? Because this has kind of like been sitting on the sidelines, just like waiting to get dusted off, right?
They've renamed a couple of times, but
right.
They knew, they weren't. They had bullets, if you will. They had bullets of legislation they wanted to go near the end of the Trump administration, but they knew that it was I'm pretty sure their thinking was, we have two options. We can go now and try to say we're doing something and hope Biden wins, or we can wait till Biden wins and then go ahead and shoot these bullets then. Granted, the Democrats thought they were going to win by way more than they did in the House and Senate, but they didn't. Republicans, the message, at least on the ground in a lot of these locations, did resonate, and they weren't able to control everything as securely as they wanted to. So they had these, in their back pocket. So now they're pushing them because Joe Biden did come out and say in the very beginning that this is something that's important to him. So this Bipartisan Background Checks Act would expand background checks for all firearm sales and transfers in the country. Currently, background checks are not required for gun sales and transfers by unlicensed and private sellers. Meaning, if Flash decides, hey, I got this Springfield Hellcat, which is the next pistol I'm getting. Whoop, whoop. You want to buy it for $500? You go, yeah, I'll buy it for $500, and I sell it to you. Sign a piece of paper. There's always a transfer thing. Sign a piece of paper going, it's now yours, and you gave me the money. That's it. But I don't have to go and make sure that ICE is kosher and everything. Now this law will require everything from gun sales on a personal level, convention gun sales, anything. If you're transferring or selling a gun, there would have to be a background check if this goes through. 8 Republicans did support the legislation, and one Democrat voted against it, which is interesting. The 8 Republicans were from Florida, Pennsylvania, Florida, New York, New Jersey, Michigan, Florida, and Illinois. So that's a lot of northern states.
Here's my thing though. Now, this is the private online sales. That's a lot of stuff that go undetected. We talked about this before. It is the online sales stuff. It is. Everybody goes to background checks already. Now, this is just like me selling it to you, like private sale again, right? Isn't that what we talked about? We talked about this already. But I don't see how. It's almost like I see what's happening. Here's it's funny. We start talking about ID laws and shit like that, and we start talking about fucking, voter ID and immigration and those type of topics, and then everyone talks about we need to have an ID. We need to have ID card for this, ID card for that. But a lot of people that say we need to have an ID card for this and ID card for that are the ones that don't want a national ID card. They don't want a national ID card. And so I think that the I don't know how do I say this without fucking. Here's my thing. We talked about this already. We're doing like an app. And even Donald Trump talked about this stuff. Remember the app, the little private. It's not going to give you your details, but it's just going to say, I'm not authorized to sell you a gun. Remember we talked about this app? And then D. Tracy listened to us on air, I think. We were laughing because we were joking about the White House or something like that. We were fans, for you guys, for new to the audience, we were broadcasting some stuff and we were talking. And no shit, the White House had liked and then unliked one of our broadcasts. And we were laughing about it because we were saying that the White House, what was it?
They were listening.
They were listening, yeah. and so we were kind of like saying, hey, we need to have this app. We were just, really, again, we were just going off, and some of it like half serious, half joking and stuff like that. And no shit, some of the shit that we were saying on air, like 3 days later, it was like we said the shit on a Monday, and then like over the following weekend, the frickin' president talked about an app to be able to do self. And
this is a true story. We're not even fucking around.
Right. Exactly.
This actually,
exactly.
To go.
Yeah. I think that the whole thing is like, the argument is, okay, if the only way we're going to do this, these guys that are in office right now, and this is what, and I'll be honest with you, and all the comments in the chats and stuff like that. Of course, the news commentary and discussion of Tucker Carlson, and it's all comments and discussion. This shit's like serious stuff right here when it comes to our Second Amendment rights. This is our constitutional rights and stuff. This is the stuff that we need to be paying attention to, of course, a little bit more seriously on this, because then it goes into the realm of okay, so what's going to happen next? What loopholes are they going to do? Because every time there's a bill that gets passed, there's always these earmarks. There's always these riders that that kind of like other additional portions to the bill that will get passed along. The pork that'll get passed along with it that people don't realize, and then all of a sudden these new gun laws are put in, and then the citizenry is like, "Hey, what the fuck? What are you talking about? How come? What do you mean?
I can't, carry a firearm on a Wednesday afternoon?
Yeah, exactly. Or the concealed carry reciprocity laws. I mean, that's some serious shit. Joking around and all this other stuff, and watching everybody getting all mad about me and you going back and forth about Tucker Carlson. Okay, whatever. I can sleep good at night, and I'll throw I'll drink a beer and laugh, and we'll have a good time. I'll probably see you guys and gals out in the, when I go visit other installations, and it's still, I'm not going to hold a grudge. It was part of the conversation, good talks. But this stuff right here, when it comes to the Second Amendment, I take it a little more seriously because this is an actual infringement. What loopholes are you talking about? It's like, are you trying to deny me of owning a weapon? The first bill passed, 227 to 203 votes. That's kind of serious. Like, it's like the legislation includes limited exemptions to following temporary transfers to prevent imminent harm. For like use at target range and gifts for family, whatever. And the second bill, which extends the review period for background checks from 3 to 10 days. Now, these are all from the legislators and stuff that are come from the states that are normally more, I don't want to say gun leaning or more, Second Amendment leaning. But like, Jim Clyburn from South Carolina, Democrat from South Carolina, he's the one that's pushing it. Yeah, the FBI, after that one shooter killed 9 people at a Charleston church in 2015, the FBI said afterward that a background check examiner never saw the shooter's previous arrest record because the wrong arresting agency was listed in the criminal history records. Well, that's their fucking fault. It's not.
Oh, and that guy was also Air Force, and the guy was also Air Force.
No, that's Texas.
Right?
That was Texas. That was the Texas shooting.
Okay.
That was the Texas. That was the Texas shooting that the Air Force neglected to put the domestic violence violations that the kid got busted for, and also
would have pulled his rights to own a weapon.
Correct, under the Lautenberg Act. Correct. So that right there, again, this is has nothing to do with the individuals instead. It was involved with paperwork getting fucked up, and they're trying to make that as a guise of, well, if this didn't happen, this didn't happen. No, like I said, to go back to what I'm saying. The gun dealer was legally permitted to complete the transaction after 3 days. Well, why? Because the wrong agency listed in the state criminal record. There was a wrong arresting agency was listed. So it was lazy ass fucking record keeping, and that's the issue.
I love it how American citizens have to pay the price for people not doing their fucking job.
Right. Well, think about this. Think about it. You want to go buy a weapon. You want to go. You want to purchase a freedom device. You want to go. Do some freedom devices for freedom stuff. To exercise your freedomage, right?
The Second Amendment was only about muskets. If I hear that fucking comment.
Oh my God, I know. Yeah, it drives me off the wall.
That's cool.
Yeah, whatever. Okay. Well, you know what? Well, the paper and the quill was the same for the First Amendment. So everyone, get back to your ink bottles. But the thing is that it is. I look at this whole thing is what happens if they. And I'm gonna say the fucking government, they fucked up this arrest record for this one kid to be able to get a weapon. What happens if it goes vice versa? Like it goes fucking, it goes against you.
He's gonna go get his Springfield Hellcat, and I'm not sponsored by anybody, but if
right.
Springfield would like to sponsor me a Hellcat, I would totally.
We could test it out. We could do. Yeah, we can have tactical gun reviews come back.
I will say it on the show. I will do a whole thing. I promise you. Give me that. Anyway,
we didn't have tactical reviews come back.
All of a sudden, they're like, hey, you can't. You're you
can't report it.
And then people are notified.
Right.
That I was trying to get a weapon.
Right.
And all of a sudden, Flash is in jail.
Flash is in jail.
I haven't done shit.
Exactly. Flash is in. No, you try to purchase a weapon.
You've got Article 15, you sons of bitches. It's got like 2 negative counting statements.
Exactly. I gotta exactly. I got a success. I got a success on my NCOER. What the fuck happened? Why am I getting arrested? I'm most qualified. So the same individuals that are depending, So the same individuals that are saying that we needed to get our records and these background checks were the same motherfuckers that ruined that are ruining it for everybody else because they were the ones in their negligence to file the paperwork correctly to ensure that persons who were not authorized to buy weapons ended up buying weapons. So that's my biggest beef right there. So one day it'll be Ice and Flash wanting to go to the fucking range, you want to go bust some caps on some freedom stuff, and then we're going hanging out, and the next thing you know, what if I want it? Me and you are buying something, and then you buy it and I buy it, and the next thing you know, according to this, Ice was with Flash, and they were both hanging out, so it was Ice purchasing a weapon for Flash because Flash came up erroneously. Of course, this is purely a scenario here. And bam, we're both busted. We're busted by the feds because we bought a pistol because some dickhead didn't know how to fill out a document that the Air Force was required to do. Mind you, the Air Force was required to do this document and didn't report it to the feds.
And people died because of negligence.
It's...
And how many people have died from negligence of a government entity that was supposed to do their job,
right?
And it didn't because he didn't go on a fucking massive rampage. But how many people have died because somebody wasn't supposed to own a weapon? They were easily able to go in and get a weapon, and they did their thing. And just because it didn't make national news, we don't know about it. So
I want to know.
I think if we got people from A to Z to be doing their fucking jobs and then reevaluate some of these legislations, then I would understand. But we're like, we're not going to fix the actual problems that caused it, but we are going to try to throw some shit on it to see if this will fix it, because regardless.
Right, and this isn't like a this isn't like a something that's been discussed. This is like 3 days old. This is like literally 3 days of stuff that they have moved forward. They will move forward on this, okay? So this Thursday,
there's another one.
There's Thursday, HR 8. You're talking about that one? Is that what you're talking about?
No, the next one is HR 1446, introduced by Democratic Representative Jim Clyburn from South Carolina, and it's called the Enhanced Background Check Act of 2021. This one passed 218 to 210. It would close what's known as the Charleston loophole, which allows some licensed gun sales to go through before a required background check is done.
That exactly the same scenario that I was just talking about. Yeah.
Using that loophole, Dylan Roof was able to legally purchase a firearm and kill 9 people in a black church, like we talked about. Because so 2 Democrats oppose the legislation. That would be Representatives Ron Kind from Wisconsin and Golden, and the Republicans who voted for the legislation were Representative Brian Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania and Chris Smith from New Jersey.
Now, I what I don't like is that what I don't like is the fact that they're using specific events that are connected to these mass shootings, like the Sandy Hook, the Florida shooting, the Valentine's shooting, the massacre where that freaking kid shot up the school in Florida. And both of those situations, both of those individuals were the ones that were undergoing mental behavioral health and psychiatric treatment. And so no one's really covering. They're only talking about the end effect to it, but they're not talking about the psychiatric treatment. Because I guarantee you right now, if I started showing symptoms of behavioral health issues and all that, do you think I should be authorized to drive a car? Do you think I should be authorized to operate equipment?
I don't even know why we let you on the fucking radio.
I'm about to say the same thing too, dude, man. It's like they flipped the switches and they gave me the buttons, son. But think about it though. It's the same fucking thing. It's almost like limiting old people from driving. If you see those, especially in Florida. Well, that's a bad example because some Florida people, they don't give. Florida doesn't give a shit. We'll give them to old people. There you go. We'll have a license.
They were able to vote better this time.
I'm gonna drive. God damn it! You can't steal my rights.
There is some comfort, but there's a steep hill to climb in the Senate as the Democrats only hold a slim 50-50 majority. That would need significant, again, 50-50 majority because the vice president, if it's split like that, would be the deciding factor, which is currently Vice President Kamala Harris. But they would need significant Republican support to overcome a legislative filibuster, meaning they need 60 votes to pass. Still, the legislation remains a priority for the Biden administration. But Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, smug bastard, but he's not really a step above or below Mitch McConnell. They're just oh my God. They're one and the same. They're just like 2 different aliens. Committed to putting the bipartisan background check on the Senate floor for a vote and suggested having discussions after on how to work with Republicans. Quote, we'll have the good sense to have had this bill twice, and in the past when they sent it over to us last time, it went to Mitch McConnell's legislation graveyard.
Yeah, but you know what's funny? That's a good question. you see a lot of, it's mostly the Republicans and the GOP that are all about the Second Amendment and stuff. You notice, why haven't we heard from the GOP? Hell, why haven't we heard from the NRA? Why hasn't Mitch McConnell come up there and said, "Oh, trying to take our rights"? And you know what I mean? Nobody's saying that shit. Why haven't the Republicans said anything about this? I'm serious, dude. It's getting fucking annoying that these are the
Jimmy Stewart.
No, that was Mitch McConnell. I was imitating Mitch McConnell.
You gotta be a little drunker, and then you do Jimmy Stewart, but a little drunker.
I'll try to do it. I'm a better W. Leave me out of this ass. But no, dude. Where's the GOP and all this shit?
Senator Ted Cruz said something about it.
What did Ted Cruz say about it?
Oh man, I gotta go back to it now. It was writing hate mail.
Are you still memeing him?
I have not memed anybody. I'm good. Like, look, I have this cool, awesome platform where Flash can say his individual opinions that does not represent WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments at anywhere. They give me a platform for me to talk, and what I say is on me, and I appreciate that. But anyways, look, here's another article about the Marine Corps account to delete critical tweet because they got mad at Tucker Carlson, and somebody's got to protect that sweet boy. Snowflake.
Go back to the guns.
Back to the guns. Let's see. I just saw they were talking about open borders. I guess never mind. Even Ted Cruz didn't talk about it.
Nobody's talking. That's what I'm saying. Where's I want the I want to see the I want to see those individuals that were all supporting the Second Amendment talk about this bill happening. I mean, because the first vote, like I said, it's already what's in the bill that the House passed is all you just Google it. House passes bills to strengthen gun laws. Mind you, this is like from 11 March. They're just doing shit, and you don't see anything from the GOP. You don't see any. Usually, when the GOP will say something or something, or anytime that the Democrats says something, then the GOP will always have like a statement. I've not seen anything. I've not seen anything at all. I mean, I'm not saying that I have a lot of freedom devices that are currently sitting at the bottom of a lake, but I'm just saying that I got freedom devices that are sitting at the bottom of the lake. But I just don't see how, I don't see nobody pushing. I don't see the NRA pushing it either. Unless, have you been getting?
I'm searching right now. Now the NRA did put out a tweet an hour ago. Breaking U.S. Senate insiders are reporting that Biden's extreme gun control will likely get a hearing next week. Anti-gun bills just passed the House. If they pass the Senate, the gun control will go to Biden. So it will become law. Contact your senator. Let's see. Yeah, and so that's the only thing I've seen. Oh, look at that. They also did push out something on March 11th, talking about what's happening now that they've passed, what's happening next. But that's been about the NRA is the only one who's really said something. Let's see, Thomas Massey, the U.S. representative from Kentucky 4th District, did push out something. But you're seeing a lot of House stuff. You're not seeing from Republicans from the Senate. Now there one person from the Senate, Adam Schiff. Oh no, he's House Representative. I apologize. There's so many of them. I get lose track sometimes. You're seeing it from House Republican, House Democrats and Senate Democrats. You're not seeing anything from Senate Republicans about this bill. I think they think that they're going to be able to hold tight, and they've got Chuck Schumer's, word that they're not going to go after the filibuster. But I think if they lose this, they might just go after the fucking filibuster because I don't trust anybody as far as I can throw them. Let's see what else.
Yes, I think Sean, that's a good question. I do think that there's an attempted gun registry. I just see only because they're not outwardly saying a gun registry, but there's things that are leading up to it, like they're talking about magazine capacities, and what they're talking, and you're hearing the other outliers, like the other individuals that are supportive of it. They're talking about what they want to do. So I think I think the there's some laws anyways that there's no restriction anyways in some states. So it'll get passed through, but some states are also not even following what some of the restrictions that are happening. It's like there's even gun sanctuary zones, freedom device sanctuary zones, and the term high capacity magazine. What's considered You know, they tried this before. They tried this last year. It seems like they've tried it every year though. High capacity magazine ban, and I don't know, but I do think that there is a talk about either a gun buyback program. I think there's talk. I mean, I can just, I don't know. They're not outwardly saying it. I want to see the digits. You notice that when they talk about these bills and shit, they don't have like any bullet points, or anything to say. Here's what's in this bill. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, and here's the bill, and here's the bill. And by the way, we'll bury this in a link of some article, and then you can see that. Have you seen the writing on this yet, Flash, at all?
No, I mean, I've only seen some of the highlights and stuff, different things. That's been pushed out from some from House Republicans and Democrats, but they always keep on the same big talking points of just what this bill is. And now I do feel that this is, well, let's see. Senator Chris Murphy from a Connecticut Democrat expressed hope for some of the gun control legislation to pass the Senate. Quote, I think we're living in such a different world than 2013. So much has changed. The politics around us is fundamentally different. I think that you can't compare 2013 to 2021. I think there are a lot of Republican senators that are thinking about voting for the proposal that allows them to get right on the issue. And then the White House also said gun control legislation is a priority. Joe Biden said, I will say that, the press secretary, Jen
Psaki.
Psaki. How do you get Psaki out of P?
Just that's the way she's pronounced it.
Hey, that's cool. Like, rock on, Jen. Better than Sean Spicer, I'll tell you what. I will say that the president is somebody throughout his career who has advocated for smart gun safety measures.
You're quoting. You're not saying this. You're just quoting Jen Psaki, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm quoting her. She also said he's not afraid of standing up to the NRA. He's done it multiple times and won on background checks and a range of issues, and it's priority to him on a personal level. Now, Brian Lemick, the executive director of the Brady PAC, the sister organization of gun violence prevention group, the Brady Campaign, praised the House members who supported the legislation, saying members of the House of Representatives have made it clear today with bipartisan support where they stand on preventing countless numbers of deaths from happening again in the future. Between now and 2022, Brady PAC will make sure every voter knows and doesn't forget who did or did not vote for the life-saving piece of legislation that 90% of Americans support. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
We're looking at sometime this week or maybe sometime early next week. The Senate's going to pick this up now that they finally passed the STIMI.
Stimmy! Did you get your STIMI? Did you get a STIMI yet?
So if you do not know when you're getting your stimulus, if you Google IRS stimulus, like separate words, IRS and then space stimulus, one of the first links that it'll send you is the IRS's stimulus landing page, where if you put in your information, your name, social, address, all the identifying shit that you would use with IRS, they will tell you exactly when you're expected to get it.
Now this is the STIMI, like this is the new STIMI, like wipe the slate clean STIMI. Yeah. So it's not like the old STIMIs.
The new STIMI, and then you can also look up if you have not received any of the last stimulus bills, like the second one. There's people who didn't get their $600 and shit like that. You can also look up how you can get that. It's on the site as well. It's the IRS stimulus site. I don't have it right in front of me, so I apologize. But if you Google it, it'll get you there. I did find out that mine will deposit on the 15th, on the 17th, on St. Patrick's Day. Whoop, whoop, green beer for everybody, bitches.
What? I'll take a Tecate, please, but a green Tecate, I guess.
We're gonna put a little
some food dye in there. Well, yeah, I need to visit you again, man. I need to hang out.
So if you're wondering how much you're going to get, we'll be quick on this because it's super easy. You are looking at right now, if you qualify, if you make less than $75,000 as an individual or $120,000 as a filing joint married, you'll get the full benefits or whatnot. There is a hard cutoff. There isn't going to be like if you either get it, you don't. So you're looking at $1,400 per person and $1,400 per dependent. So if you are a family of 4, 2 kids and a wife and a husband, or 2 wives or 2 husbands, or however the fuck you want to do it, you're looking at about $5,600, $1,400 per kid, and $1,400 per adult. There is also going to be a child credit that they're pushing out there. Now you won't get it now, but what will happen is if you have a kid that's 5 and under, you're going to get $300 a month for, I think it's about a year or so, for starting in July. If you have a kid that's 6 and older, you're getting $250, so it's a $50 difference. But starting in July, you'll start seeing those impact payments. It looks like those will come out individually and not part of a tax return or anything like that. And then there is some kind of, if you are a federal employee, there is some kind of $21,000 dealing with fucking, virtual learning while being a federal employee. I don't understand that 100%. I kind of need to fucking learn that. But there is money that's coming out, so double check on the IRS site. Make sure that your information is correct. If you think you're going to make too much and you haven't filed your tax returns, remember, tax returns aren't due until April. If you filed today, you'd be fine. The systems wouldn't update because the IRS will still do their thing. So don't worry. It's based off right now the 2019 tax. But if you're having issues and you're right now over the stimulus right now, I would fucking, like say you're, filing joint married and you were making over 120 last year, but this year you're only making like 101 or something like that. I'd fucking file very quickly so you can get your full stimulus and not get jerked around from that. Yeah. That's just Flash's opinion.
Right. No, you get it. Yeah, exactly. Now we see you on the Periscope. We love
you, Periscope.
We see you Twitters. We see you on the Twitterage. We see you Twitters. We see you. We're not ignoring you. We see you. We could see chats in YouTube, Twitch, both Facebook pages, and so we're Twitch, YouTube, 2 Facebook pages, and on Periscope on Twitter. So we could see your comments. So I guess it's time to go try to claim those children. Exactly that, Scott. But
I'm about to go find other children. But there are other things. Granted, there is a lot of pork in this bill, and it's one of those times where I'm not happy. I'm going to take the money because it's already spent. Okay, my virtual signaling doesn't go that far. The money's already coming, and there's nothing. It's for me, it's direct deposit. So who the fuck am I going to return it to? But I do not like there's a lot of pork in there, but there are also some extra stuff like more money for small businesses to keep them floating, because I do feel they are the heart of this nation. If our small businesses all go down because of this COVID stuff, we're in deep trouble and our economy will suffer. They have expanded the money for unemployment, which I think is also important because there are people with no fault of their own that are out of a job because of whatever. I do like that they didn't go as full as they did the first time, because there was that problem where people were like, I make more money on unemployment than going back, so I'm just gonna stay on unemployment, which I understood. I would have done the same thing, but now they made it where it's like it's almost comparable, or you make just a little less than you probably would have made, so it almost behooves you to get back to work. But hey, they are talking that we are on the down of this curve, and if everyone keeps doing, please wear your masks out in public. I know if you hate it or not, it's my right. Cool. If you can get the vaccination and you are not a crazy person that's like, oh, no vaccinations, specifically, if it was my personal opinion, Johnson & Johnson, I believe the Army is actually switching from the long...
Yeah, the one that takes 2 days. They're talking about the one shot... The one vax. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they're from the last thing I heard, they're moving from the one that you have to do 2 shots to the Johnson & Johnson 1 shot that they feel is more effective, and it's only 1 shot, so fuck it. But hey, this is Flash's opinion right here. Wear your fucking mask. Remember to social distance. If you don't need to be in a club, you probably ain't gonna get laid anyway, so calm down. We're almost there. We're almost there. Things are loosening up. Texas, whether you agree or disagree, is opened up shop.
Right. I wonder what's going. I wonder what's going on with the stats for them. Like, I wonder what they're.
Look, I'm surprised because after Joe Biden came out and said, "Oh, we're gonna avoid Neanderthal thinking," for Governor Abbott, going, "Hey, Texas is fucking open." Even though I did see. Do you remember the movie Shrek?
Of course.
And in the beginning where Lord Farquaad's like, some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make, and somebody meshed that, and I did laugh my ass off. But I have noticed that I have not seen many tweets or outlets talking about those numbers, because I think the numbers are low, or even or they're doing the right thing, and the numbers are continuing to go down. I know in Virginia numbers are skyrocketing downwards. I know in other states I know some states they're on the rise and they're bouncing. I know, just like how many people are accusing Governor Cuomo of being a bad touchy person. The numbers are kind
that's
of
another
ebb and flow up there as well.
Yeah, I gotta wait. I gotta wait for the.
Going down.
Yeah, I gotta wait. I'm looking to see how that news pans out, because Cuomo, dude, damn, dude.
And I did watch his brother go, I know what's happening with my brother.
Right.
I will not be talking about what's happening with my brother. And I was like, I can dig that.
Yeah,
like, I'm not even mad at you.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
Look,
yeah, but he's this mad shit talker, and he fucking
until it hits his family.
Until it hits his family, then all of a sudden everybody's like, oh, whatever.
What's your opinion now, motherfucker?
Yeah, exactly.
But keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing the social distancing. Wear your mask. Be smart out there, and we'll kick this thing. So hopefully, by come summer, we're fucking just like being stupid again, and and making bad barbecue and everything like that, and we'll be good to go.
Well, shit, dude. We only got like 4 minutes. Are you cool for not doing a sports page, or are you good?
Hey, real quick, the NCAA tournament is happening this year. Yes, the March Madness. Woohoo,
oh, where's it playing? Where's it playing this time? Where's it playing this time? Where's it at this time? March Madness. Wait. The tournament hasn't even happened. March Madness is the lead up to the tournament. I'm sorry, my bad.
March Madness is the tournament.
Okay, it's a tournament too, but what? That's what. Where's the final game being played at, or is it all at once? I heard they were talking about doing it all in one place.
I believe. Shit. Hold on. I can do a quick search here. Let's see. So that's. I think the West is in Indianapolis. Oh, yep, Indianapolis. So it looks like the West is happening in Indianapolis, in Indiana and Indianapolis, and I think there's one other fucking location. So they're keeping up pretty close. No, it does seem like it's all the same. Hold on one second. But March Madness is definitely happening this year. It didn't happen because all these kids were starting to pop up with COVID, and they said, fuck this shit. So they decided to go against it, which was pretty smart. Yeah, so the West is happening in Indianapolis, Indiana. Actually, the whole tournament is happening in Indianapolis. So, all these kids, all 64 teams will be in Indiana for this tournament, which is, and I'm pretty sure the final game will be there too. Let's see.
Right.
Yep. It's all happening in Indiana,
cool.
Which is good. They're going to kind of do like the bubble that the
they were talking
did,
about, because they were talking about
did.
because they were talking about doing it like sporadic, like having it one spot, having another spot, and then having it final. So I was just curious if they were going to do the same.
Yeah, I thought they were going to. Oh well, let's see. That was in the E. Okay, no, because I'm looking at the East, South, West, South, East, and Midwest, and they're all going to be in Indianapolis. So that'll be good. Hopefully they probably already have them in the bubble, and they're probably already doing all the because a lot of the SEC tournaments and the ACC tournaments and stuff like that, which for some teams are qualifiers to get in to the into March Madness, into the top the first round of 64. So it's the men's tournament and the women's tournament is still being decided right now. Starting off 64 teams, big favorites is Baylor, Gonzaga, Michigan, Illinois. Looking, a lot of people predicting already going to the Final Four, as well as Baylor. Woohoo, go Baylor. So it'll be interesting. A couple of Virginia teams got in there. Texas is looking. Texas Tech is up there. Arkansas is going to fail miserably, even though they got a high seed. But definitely make sure the games start on Thursday. So if you're going to do your
brackets, they're going to have some
your brackets. You better do it. You better start pretty soon. You have to have them in by Thursday, and the first games kick off.
Yeah, go ahead.
1.
Yeah, because last year it was Virginia that won it, and it was freaking. It went an
year before last.
I'm sorry, yeah, year before last, yeah. I'm sorry, yeah, 19, yeah, my bad.
Because then 2020.
The 2020, yeah, dude, fuck. I keep I can't, man, it's 2020.
Remember, it's been a year since they said, "Hey, we're going to do a 2-week lockdown." And we're going to
it has been a year. As a matter, we're still in March. We've never left March. We're still in March. So yeah, right. So it was 2019.
2020.
Holy crap! Yeah, so it was 2019.
And my final thing for a sports page. Tom Brady has re-signed with the with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and so has Rob Gronkowski has also signed, I believe, for a multi-year deal to stay with the Super Bowl championship team. And Bill Belichick has thrown himself into the river because he's just spending all this money on these people because it's kind of like when you get really hungry and you just go into the store and you just buy everything.
You just binge eat.
Bill Belichick is doing that right now with free.
You know what's funny is that
Brady's staying.
Yeah. Okay, so Brady's staying, but who's retiring? There's news about who's retiring. Who's the
man? I told you it was going to start.
Yep.
Drew Brees is officially retired. At least officially announced his retirement from the NFL. Drew Brees is one of those people who was super classy. Has played very well. Has gone up against the best, whether it be Peyton Manning, he's gone up against. I think because it was the Saints versus the Colts in one Super Bowl when he won, because I was in basic training and they rolled out the TV for about 15 minutes and then rolled it back and smoked us for watching it because of true Army fashion. But it will be sad to see Drew Brees go. He was he was a great quarterback. I mean, he was a really good quarterback. I don't know if he will make the Hall of Fame. I kind of think he's on the outside looking in. But I do believe that Drew Brees is one of the great people to watch in the NFL, and the sport will sorely miss him. But it is time for him to rest and take all the money he made and to go relax and hang out with his kids and hopefully coach some kind of football and do his thing and have a good time and let new blood come into the sport so we can go and analysis is there.
He'll probably end up getting a job
analyzing
the. You know what? He'll probably I would say he'd probably sign a deal with ESPN. I'm willing to bet you. He's probably going to sign for ESPN or.
I hope not. I still hate
or
that
CBS
Tony Romo
Sports
has a job.
Who?
I still hate that Tony Romo is a fucking color commentator and honestly, but he could take over for Joe Buck because I can't stand that man in any sport. I don't care.
I can see that. I can see that.
Fuck you, Joe Buck.
I can see that. Well, shit. Is that it for sports page then?
Your big rectangle head. Yes. And that's it for sports page. Nothing. We're getting close to the for NHL and NBA playoffs. We'll talk about that next week. And then we're getting a lot closer to the end of spring training. First round cuts have already started for these teams. So some of these folks are getting their walking papers or being assigned to the minor leagues. So getting ready for baseball, baby.
Yeah, exactly. Can't wait. Go Dodgers. Anyways, and if not the Dodgers, then go Rangers. Well, shit. So tomorrow, we got. Wait, I'm not even paying attention to the admin work here, man. Shit, I gotta check out and see if we got any. Do we have any cut sheets going on? I've been kind of like.
Mom's gonna shank you.
Yeah, I'm about to say I'm kind of. Yeah, everyone says you gotta check mail. You gotta check it. So, all right. So right now, this is March. Everyone is doing their spring break and stuff like that. In about, I would say, in a couple of days, there's going to be an announcement of an event between U.S. Army WTF Moments, WTF Nation Radio, and an Army organization that's going to be pretty cool. And a unique method of doing long form interviews that is almost as similar to Joe Rogan. So stay tuned. You're going to see some adverts coming about it, and we're excited because everybody who's involved is pretty pumped, and it's going to be with yours truly. And I can't wait because I'm going to go be able to hang out with some troops and go see what's going on. And then you'll see it posted. And once it gets posted, you'll see the confirmed dates and the times, and we're excited for it. But don't forget, tomorrow is Pop Culture Warrior with CQ and the Uncultured Pop Warrior. Radar, and then Sergeant's Times myself with me and Spanky on Thursday. Friday, of course, Friday and Saturday, you never know if there's going to be a show popping up with Kaz and Pookie, due to the fact that Kaz is like going back into his work. He does like really serious, like some serious contract work that's really cool. I mean, he does like airspace aviation aeronation stuff that's like I can't.
Got that smart stuff.
He's got that smart stuff that I couldn't even do. He's a Kaz is a hard worker, so but you never know. You might see a freaking recast or a rebroadcast of a show on Friday. But other than that, all of our shows start at 2000, broadcasting live, of course, like you saw on all those platforms, and then loaded up and podcasted on other 14 platforms that you'll see also downloadable on Google Play and Apple Podcasts.
And Steven, you can call the show because if you look at the scroller on the screen, 415-889-8367. At any time you want to chime in your voice to the show, you call that number.
Yeah, when we're rocking and rolling, and you want to provide. Oh yeah, thank you for reminding me, Steven. At all these times that we're talking, that's why there's a scroll on the bottom. We're ending the show right now, so if you call right now, we're just going to hang up on you.
Now you're out of luck.
Now you're out of luck. But while we're talking, phone lines for my show and Sergeant's Time, they're always open. We don't mind. I mean, as long as you're coming in and asking some legit questions and you're not, mind you, you're going to be recorded. So, it's going to be kind of funny to see how you're going to act and all that. So don't freeze in the door. Once the parachute door opens, just, take that leap and give us a call. You'll see the number scrolling down. It's always on while we're on air, so usually somebody will come in and say, "Here, I feel about this." Last show that we had two individuals calling in on air live, and we talked to them, shot the shit, gave them some opinion and all that. Even was able to assist them after the show ended to get them squared away on what their issues were. So again, while we're broadcasting, as a matter of fact, I think even CQ says too that his lines are open as well. So. And anyways, so real quick, thank you all for listening. And you got anything to say, Flash? Any final words or something like that? Or are you good?
Alan Tucker did bring up something that I do want to mention. That hey, if you're worried about filing your tax returns because of stimulus, do not worry. This is a tax credit. That's how they filed it. So you will be shown that if you did not get the stimulus when you file and you put that, you will then get the stimulus as owed to you. But if you get the stimulus, it's kind of like, cool, and we're even. So do not be afraid. That's going to affect your taxes. It will not. I literally just did my taxes today with my wife. It will not hurt you. It will come up as a tax credit. And if you did not get your stimulus for whatever reason, you will be able to get that in a big tax return. So hopefully it'll help you from owing thousands of dollars to the government. Again, let's get through this pandemic. Whether we agree or disagree, that is the beauty of our country. That is the beauty of U.S. Army WTF moments, that we give the fans like you an outlet to tell us about your experience, good or bad or indifferent, even a chance to even call in and talk to us to give us your opinion. And it gives knuckleheads like me and Ice a chance to express our viewpoints of what's going on across the WTF Nation radio platforms. Again, be good to each other. Be nice. And God, I can't wait for baseball. Yeah.
I'm about to say, dude, you're rambling. You're bad.
Lord, that's so long to that short-ass season.
I know, man. Okay, well, all I gotta say is that my final word is having kids is like having little broke best friends that think you're rich. So with that, y'all have a good night and shots.
Hey, this is SEAC retired John Wayne Troxel. You're listening to WTF Nation Radio, the station of choice for all of the badass MFers on the planet.
The voice of U.S. Army, WTF Moments. This is WTF Nation Radio.
yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. They say that they've discovered life up there on Mars, so let's blow it all to hell and then claim it for ours. We'll paint the moon red, white, and blue for no other reason than we wanted to. Oh, Jupiter, imagine what you could become. A stupid, pointless planet turned into a giant gun. And Russia, so sorry, have to burst your bubble. Be a good sport now, sit back, relax, and watch us through the hubble as we celebrate the greatness of the United Planet of America. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Now we'll go to infinity and beyond, beyond. You'll hear our manly voices singing Space Force strong. The critics say sound doesn't travel in space, to which we reply sound will do as we say. Oh, Captain Kirk, your achievements, though notable and fine, as far as we're concerned, this is Deep Space Mine. And big fans, but Lord Vader, step away from the lightsaber. There can only be one, of course. Space Force. Ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum, ra-da-da-da-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da, ra-da-da-da-da-da-da-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum-dum. Space Force, Space Force, we'll saddle up our intergalactic horse and we'll ride into the sun, yes, into the sun, where we'll take the day by planting a flag right there at its source. Space Force. Space Force.
Everything stated on WTF Nation Radio is to be considered the opinion of the person that stated it, and not an official representation of WTF Nation Radio or U.S. Army WTF Moments.
Price does not include tax, title, or license. Some assembly required. Each item sold separately. Batteries not included. Objects in mirror are closer than they appear. If conditions persist, contact a physician. Individual results may vary. Keep out of the reach of children. Avoid prolonged exposure to direct sunlight. Keep in a cool, dark place. And
please enjoy the show. Shop.